In this third edition of Exploring Latte in the Marianas, we journey to Aguiguan Island to explore prehistoric sites from the Latte period. Joining our excursion are scientists Maria Cotomayor, a skilled cartographer, and Dr. Andrea Hollandoni, a regional expert in rock art and digital archaeology. Providing support is my husband Mark and my cousin Ton, and Elvin as our knowledgeable guide. Join us as we visit the largest Latte site and delve into Aguiguan's rich past and rugged beauty. All right, take one. Tell me, what is your name?
Okay, my full name is Elvin Cruz Mosca.
And how long have you been coming to Aguiguan?
To tell you the truth, maybe I've been coming here more than 30 years.
How old were you when you first came?
When I first came here, I was like 15 years old.
Did you know that there were Latte when you were coming here at 15?
At first, not of my knowledge.
What did you guys do here?
Actually, we just come here for hunting. Usually for hunting. Wild bull, coconut crab.
You said that after that first time,
Yes. After the first time, I just fell in love with this island. So, first and then second time and then third time around, it's only me, you know, adventuring by myself.
you really would come all by yourself?
Yes.
How many days would you stay here by yourself?
I can stay here like 4 days.
Do your parents ever worry about you coming here?
Of course.
Do you tell them that you're coming?
Sometimes I tell them that I'm coming. Most of the time I just follow the boys.
On our journey to Aguiguan, we will explore cultural artifacts based on a 1990 study by Brian Butler and his team. We aim to document the abundance of cultural artifacts, investigate cave markings, looking for unrecorded rock art, and visit the largest Latte site detailed in their survey. As we capture the island's landscape, we'll also honor the history of the last Chamorro stronghold before the Spanish moved them south during the Reduction. Geologically simple yet striking, the island consists entirely of marine limestone terraces, rising sharply from the sea with dramatic cliffs reaching 65 to 130 feet in height. Without beaches or harbors, Aguiguan's terrain is rugged, with high cliffs to the north, where terraces narrow into steep ledges, and a large central plateau forms at the highest terrace. Aguiguan is shaped like an oval and hasn't been extensively studied archaeologically until the 90s. Spanning about 2.8 miles long and just under a mile wide at its widest, it covers roughly 2.8 square miles with a maximum elevation of 545 feet. After making camp, we were ready for the night. Today, our journey takes us to the east side of Aguiguan, where we will explore Site 11 from the Butler Survey, a cave steeped in history and mystery. As we hike through the limestone forest, I can't help but imagine what life was like here for the ancient Chamorro, adapting to this rugged island isolated during the Spanish times.
Let me see.
Just staring at the ground.
Let me see. Oh, wow.
Do you want a scale?
Why not? Cool. You want to put it on the ground and take a picture or something? Sure. How cool.
This is just one of many artifacts found on this trip.
So we go to the area where we're going to. This is the Japanese one right here. And you're gonna see it's very beautiful there where we're gonna pass.
In the late 1930s, the Japanese established a sugarcane plantation on Aguiguan, building a major road to connect the landing complex with the village on the highest terrace plateau. We hiked along this road at the beginning of the day, passing a major viewpoint of Nafton Rock to the south. This would be the first of many viewpoints on a long hike up and down the terrace cliff line. All in all, this hike would take us 7 to 8 hours to complete. The Japanese sugarcane plantation was active from 1936 until the U.S. invasion in 1944 and included a planned village, warehouse complex, and related structures. On this hike, we also witnessed war period habitation sites, caves, and shelters where the workers lived and hid during the final months of World War II. Without surface water sources, inhabitants would have had to rely solely on rainwater. I learned in the Butler study that the island's small size and limestone geology resulted in low rainfall and poor moisture retention, making it drier and more drought prone. The majority of artifacts we found along this side of the hike were in the Japanese era, from wash basins to sink basins to just a massive dump of bottles. The Japanese remnants were all over the place. We marveled at the intricate root structures as we hiked along the cliff lines. Aguiguan is also known as Goat Island, and it earned its nickname after goats were introduced during the Spanish colonial period. Since then, the goats have thrived, freely roaming on the island's rugged terrain. They're now a distinctive feature of Aguiguan's landscape, adding to its wild, untamed character. Our destination is a rock shelter on the south coast, perched halfway up an 80-foot cliff. According to the Butler survey, this site likely served as a temporary stop for fishing and foraging groups as far back as 2,000 years ago. Inside the cave, we'll examine a large mortar and investigate the mystery of strange symbols and lines scratched around the mortar hole. Whether they hold symbolic meaning or were simply idle marks is still unclear.
Make sure what you're doing, especially your leg.
Yes.
Hey, all the time you have to be holding. We're almost not there.
Tell us the story about how you found the cave.
Actually, it was me and my cousin, twin brother, Alfonso Regis.
What is your name?
Okay, my name is Alfonso Regis. Both of us are working fishing wire from Latte, so we plan our weekend coming down to Aguiguan just for, wild goat hunting.
So you came here on your day off.
Yes. Yeah. And then that same day, we got up maybe around 10 in the morning, 10:30. No? They dropped us here. So we climb east side at Kiza. So it takes us about, 2 hours to bring all our stuff all the way to the camp. So 10, 11, maybe before 1 o'clock, we're done. And then after that, we just prepare our camp. All of a sudden, we just plan. I said, here, let's go for it. We want to watch Chiba around if they're, we can see big ones near. So that's our plan. So we said, yeah, let's go. So our intention is not for the cave, but I said, while we're moving and watching, looking for the Chiba, then all of a sudden, we come to this area, and it looks like, from the bottom when you look, it's like nothing on the top. So let's go check it out. So we just climb up, and somehow we got up there. So it's a cave.
This is a colorized point cloud made with a Leica BLK 360 laser scanner. I created this fly-through, but if you have a copy of this 3D model, you can control where you want to look and how fast you want to move through it. You can measure anything you want and perform all sorts of analyses. These are very versatile and can give you more context and real feel than a photograph. This is also a 3D model, made by taking a lot of photographs and using a technique called photogrammetry. Since it is also a 3D model, you can do all sorts of things like take measurements. The image quality is much better, but it's impractical to do for a whole cave. You can see features from different angles, like a side view of the Lusong, which you would never get to see otherwise. "360 cameras are also good for giving you context of a site. You can capture both the look and sound of a place. You can see the cave and the trees outside, and sometimes you might hear the birds or the waves. Again, if you have a copy of a 360 image or video, you can control where to look. Some rock art paintings are difficult to see because they're faded, eroded, or covered. Archaeologists use an app called D-Stretch to help us stretch the color bands and hopefully see more rock art. Do you think these are rock art? Maybe we can't identify the figures anymore, but there does seem to be some pigment on the wall.
One of the most remarkable moments of this journey was the discovery of undocumented rock art. By sheer coincidence, we were there on the summer solstice when the lighting was just right. While deploying the laser scanner, Dr. Halandoni noticed the image as she sat just a little ways in the mouth of the cave. It was illuminated on the cave wall by the ambient light of the afternoon sun. This incredible image had not been documented by Butler or his team. Likely its details have remained unseen for over 300 years until today.
We just scaled a goat trail. I am wrecked. Whoa. Good job. Worth every moment. All right, we did it. Thank you.
On day 3, we are planning to go to Site 5 on the Butler Survey. This is the largest Latte site situated on Aguiguan's north coast in a well-preserved limestone forest, approximately half a mile long and covering about 14.2 acres. It's set on a rocky terrain with an elevation of 130 to 200 feet.
Wow. Look at this.
The Butler survey suggests Aguiguan wasn't permanently settled until around 800 to 1000 AD, with a significant population emerging only by 1200 AD. Site 5 contains 23 Latte structures arranged across 3 main clusters. Throughout the site, a wide variety of surface artifacts, including pottery, stone tools, and stone mortars, are scattered, enriching the historical context of this unique and well-preserved area. The pounder,
Beautiful one.
right? It looks different than
It
these
doesn't.
other rocks,
It doesn't
for
look
sure.
like the side that was used for pounding, though.
That's
right?
the holding side?
Yeah, because it doesn't have any of the marks. And you know it's nice because it has this groove here, which might have been for holding.
Yeah. We have a lot over here, but everything is broken. But you know what? Sometimes everything you're gonna find the perfect one.
So you're saying all of this now starting here is the old village?
From the, you see from where we find the perfect.
The first Lusong?
But as soon as we got off from that hill, we climbed and we go down. Yeah. So from there all the way to the other where it was. This is our finished road now. More better to go on this route because you're gonna see a lot of Latte stone and mortar, the lusum. And now it's overrun by lantana.
Right here? Okay. First set in the trees. The western area of Site 5 contains 9 smaller latte structures, each carefully aligned and modest in size compared to the larger central latte we're heading to. Set against the backdrop of the limestone forest, these stones once supported the homes of islanders who lived there. At times, it was difficult to tell if we were walking through an actual latte site, as many rocks had become heavily weathered over time. So we focused on patterns, searching for pairs of stones aligned in rows that would indicate the remnants of a latte home. Yeah, oh yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
In the late 1600s, the Spanish Reducción aimed to consolidate the indigenous people of the Marianas under centralized rule. At the core of this movement was the Spanish government's plan to move all the Chamorros and Carolinians south to Guam, where they would be converted to Christianity, control their resources, and come under the authority of the Spanish crown. The Spanish believed that concentrating the population would make it easier to control and secure allegiance to the colonial government. However, the Chamorros on Tinian and Aguiguan resisted. Many people from Tinian joined forces with those on Aguiguan to fight back. They retreated to the rugged fortress-like island of Aguiguan, determined to preserve their independence, culture, and way of life, even as the Spanish forces sought to assert their control. Their defiance remains a testament to their resilience against colonial oppression. We finally reached the largest latte set, known as Feature 9, in the central cluster with a stunning view of the northern coast. This massive structure stretches over 64 feet, marked by 7 pairs of stone pillars, each one at risk due to the encroaching trees nearby. Oh, the trees move the rocks. And this tree broke this one. And this tree broke that one. And this tree will probably break that one. More of the pounder. Wonder if we put them together, if they would fit. Scattered around the site, we found an incredible array of ancient tools, each offering a glimpse into the daily lives of the people here. Together, these artifacts paint a vivid picture of a resourceful community, adapting to and thriving in their rugged surroundings. This latte site likely served as a primary gathering place. Its scale and central location speak to its importance within the ancient community, surrounded by smaller latte and scattered artifacts like pottery and stone tools. A key feature of this island is that pottery fragments are scattered everywhere. With no natural clay deposits on the island, every pot had to be imported from somewhere else. These vessels served not only for storage, but likely played a crucial role in catching and conserving rainwater, an essential lifeline on an island with no freshwater sources. So when you would come here as a teenager, though, you didn't realize that there were Latte.
Oh no, as a
Yeah.
teenager, no. As a Tilero, just like I said, as a Tilero, when I started seeing this structure of rocks, that the formation, I said, no, there it must be a limestone, but it's a different, same material, but different kind of making. At first, I don't know if it's for real. Is that a real limestone? Because our limestone there in Tinian is very, very different from here. Well, this one is the biggest village that I've seen over here. All of the limestone all around. And this is the best one.
LiDAR, light detection and ranging, is a remote sensing technology used to create 3D models. Dr. Halandoni used LiDAR both here and at the cave.
The GeoSlam is another kind of laser scanner that allows you to walk around and collect millions of points that represent a surface. The result is a point cloud, like this one of the fantastic Latte set on Aguiguan. An example of the versatility of the 3D model is that you can filter out points. In this case, the tree branches overhead cover the Latte set from the sky. We remove them so that you can clearly see the Latte from a bird's eye view. Look how perfectly the pairs are aligned. Like other 3D models, you can also do measurements, not just of individual Latte elements, like the Tasa and the Haligi, but we could also measure the distances between the Haligi. Collecting data like this opens up so many possibilities.
As the Spanish expanded their rule across the Marianas, they were met with little resistance on Rota, Saipan, and the Northern Islands. However, in 1698, after a final push to force the indigenous people into relocation on Guam, the Chamorros from Tinian and Aguiguan decided to retreat to Aguiguan to make their last stand against the reduction. Using Aguiguan's steep cliffs and fortress-like terrain to their advantage, the Chamorros fortified their position. Spanish forces attempted to convince them to surrender peacefully, but the Chamorros refused. From this viewpoint, the Chamorros could see the Spanish burning the villages on Tinian in retaliation. Undeterred, they held off the Spanish for days. In the end, overwhelmed by Spanish firepower, many Chamorros chose to leap from the island's cliffs to their deaths rather than face capture. While we met our goals on this trip, we realized there's so much more to uncover here. Aguiguan's rugged beauty and rich history sets it apart from any other island in the Marianas chain. In many ways, the entire island is an archaeological site. Its lack of modern development since the 1940s has left it incredibly well preserved, like a time capsule. Life on Aguiguan was harsh, yet the ancient Chamorros chose this rugged refuge to escape Spanish rule. Unlike neighboring islands, Aguiguan is encircled by high cliffs, has no harbors, lagoons, or beaches, and only a few points where boats can safely land. Reaching the terraces where people lived was difficult, and without natural water sources, they depended entirely on collecting rainwater to survive.
What was it? Oh no!
Despite these challenges, the indigenous people made their stand here, choosing freedom and preserving their way of life over the comforts and conveniences of a more hospitable island.
Andrea, you got this.
Hold on.
Wait.
Hold on. Okay, go.
Good job.
And now it's time to go home. The fact that it hasn't been repopulated by the indigenous Chamorro people since 1698 is a stark reminder of the lasting impact of colonialization. Abandoned to nature since 1945, Aguiguan stands as both a treasure of unspoiled history and a testament to the resilience of its past.
So, what is your name?
Alfonso Reyes.
And tell me about your experience with Aguiguan.
I've been there so many times before, growing up. But this very last time I was there with a guy named Elvin Masga, a retired fish and wildlife technician. We went hunting. Actually, our camp was over at Kiza, that's the backside of Rhode Island. And then when we got up to like a flat area, we're standing. Then all of a sudden, this bird Sandy. It's very unusual for the bird to, just stand right next to us and then make a really loud cry, flying in between us. He was doing that for like 3 times, and that was very unusual for Sandy to do that. We were surprised. Even Elvin, as a retired fish and wildlife, he was very surprised about it. He'd never experienced that before. So we were just standing, looking around, and then we saw this. When we looked down, we saw a hole, like about almost a foot deep hole. It's like from a grinding thing. Then when we knelt down to like hear more of it to see, we saw a lot of carvings, different kind of carvings. After that, went back to camp. That night, we decided to go hunting again. Right before we left camp, Mr. Musgan heard a loud yelp coming from top of the cliff. Very loud yelp. And right when we left camp, we didn't find any goats all the way. Coming back also, all we found on the cliffside and everywhere on the trails were cockroaches. Yeah, after that incident, finding that cave and the carvings and everything,
Yeah.
it was just like bad luck for us.
Is there anything you'd like to say about Aguiguan that's like important to you, or a message that you want people to know about that island?
I just want them. I just want like more scientists to take a look at the place and study more about it, and especially those carvings. They were very unusual or something we haven't seen, and probably could mean something more. If anybody can translate it and let us know more about it.
Wait, I have one more thing to tell you. So, something else happened after the trip, and it kind of goes in line with the weird tales that come along with this cave. When I returned home and was going through my tape and different aspects of the trip, I noticed that there was a big section and chunk of video and photographs that were missing, and I really have no idea what happened. All I know is every single picture, every single video that I took while at the cave was missing from my phone. The only photo that I had left was that one last shot that I did put in the film, which I had sent to some people over WhatsApp. But all the other footage that I took at the cave site was missing, which is why in the film you only get the LiDAR version and the 3D camera pictures of the cave, because those were the only remaining video and pictures that was existing from the trip. Luckily, that was part of Dr. Andrea's collection and wasn't lost. But interestingly, also with her collection, it wasn't dated in 2024. Her computer had somehow moved that date all the way to 2016. So if she hadn't really searched for it, she would not have found that footage either. So that cave definitely has some weird things going on, and I do not suggest that people go there looking for it. But if you're in for adventure, just be careful.